guys, so my voice sounds a little weird right now because I'm sick, but I wanted to make this video right now anyways because I'm kind of in the moment. I've been thinking about a lot of things tonight. I've been thinking about a lot of things over the past couple of days. I've been talking to a lot of people. I mean, I'm struggling with things, but like my close friends are dealing with things too. One of my best friends was just diagnosed with cancer, and another one of my best friends is struggling with severe depression and suicidal thoughts, and I just feel like it's not something that I've ever talked about before, and I haven't even really planned this video. I'm just going to kind of talk. It's not something that I've talked about before because it's kind of a scary topic for me. I've dealt with it a little bit before. I've never ever harmed myself, but I've had those thoughts, and I kind of want to explain how I got through that because I feel like maybe it would help somebody. And also I feel like, you know, I try really hard. I'm very real with the things that I do. I don't ever put on an act, but I try to show people that, you know, you can talk about the things that I talk about and still be a normal, happy person and have a fun life and have friends and do things. So I made a vlog channel and I made a music channel so people can see me doing other things. But I feel like sometimes people look at those things, and I've had my friends tell me this, and they say, it looks like you have the perfect life. It looks like you're always happy. It looks like, you know, you're just this girl that just is frolicking around in sunshine and rainbows and it has nothing ever bad happen. And I feel like a lot of people who are depressed do that. They compare their life to other people's lives, and then it makes it worse because they think that they're the only one who has ever struggled with those types of feelings. And that's why I kind of want to make this video, and I've avoided it for so long just because honestly it makes me a little bit uncomfortable talking about some of these things because it hits close to home, and it's just hard to talk about, you know? I'm going to kind of make a confession right now because one of my biggest regrets, and I want to try not to cry talking about this, but oh man, shit. Okay, so I grew up with a girl, and she was my best friend, my childhood friend. And her older sister was not somebody I was ever particularly close with, but I did grow up with her at the same time. And she, later on in life, we had some issues with each other, really stupid fights, honestly. Really stupid, childish, meaningless fights that made us kind of hate each other. A lot of you guys know that I went through a divorce, but whenever I did get married, I invited her sister, my friend, and I invited her parents, but I didn't invite her, and because I didn't want her there, because I didn't know what she was going to do, and I was more concerned with myself. And you know, that's normal whenever you're getting married, you're, you know, stressed about things and stuff, but I didn't invite her on purpose. And you know, my biggest regret ever so far in my life is and it seems so small, and insignificant at the time, but now it's something that haunts me. I saw her on my college campus one time, and she looked sad and scared and kind of timid. And I know that she saw me walking by her. I think she must have been waiting to pick her sister up or something from class. And she saw me coming, and she kind of like turned a little bit away from me and kind of hid. But I knew that she saw me. So I just walked by her. We briefly made eye contact, and I just kind of turned my nose up at her, and I was almost glad to see her looking so down because I was like, you deserve it. That's what you get for treating me the way that you treated me. And I felt like I was better than her, you know, and I walked by her. And that's the last time I saw her because a couple of months later she ended up committing suicide. And you know, I have to like live with the fact that the last time I saw her I was so hateful and so bitter and such an ugly person. And I didn't feel like I deserved to be there at her funeral because I didn't invite her to my wedding. I should have been the bigger person because I didn't know what she was going through in her life. And obviously it was much worse than I thought. And at her funeral I didn't feel like I deserved to be there. And I kept thinking, like, I was really confused. I was like, why, you know? I had nothing really to relate to. Because until that point, I had my life together, you know? I was about to graduate with a degree in biomedical sciences. I was accepted to medical school. I was about to get married, or I had just recently gotten married, and you know, I was like Miss Perfect. You know, I had my shit together and I was fine. And I was like, how could somebody just take their life, you know? I didn't get it. I couldn't relate at all. And so I thought, you know, I wish that she had done something else. I wish that she had just run away or something, you know, started a new life somewhere else, just left everyone behind that made her feel this way and just started fresh, started new. I mean, I know that's not the easiest thing to do, but give yourself a second chance, you know? And that idea kind of stuck with me. So fast forward a couple of years and my relationship is falling apart. I was absolutely miserable. I felt a lot of times that I had nothing to live for, but I thought it'd get better, you know? My relationship will get better, you know, we had a lot of trust issues. I don't want to go into it, but we had a lot of trust issues and there wasn't really support for me where there needed to be. Like, I was made to feel bad about myself in a lot of different ways. And I let that get me down. You know, the only thing I had going for me, honestly, was YouTube. At the time, I was just posting small little videos and I didn't really think anything of it. It was just a hobby. But I was mostly focusing on school, which I was struggling with at the time because I was in such an unhealthy environment at home. I asked my, at the time, husband to give me some time alone at our house. You know, you go stay somewhere else, I need some time alone so that I can study. Because I told him I needed time to study because he was distracting me and we were fighting and I just needed to focus on school for board exams. And if he could just give me a couple of weeks alone, maybe it would help. And he did. But it was a total lie. I wanted him to go because I wanted to be alone because I was really trying to decide whether or not I wanted to like live anymore. And I never did anything, but I thought about it. I really did. And I don't know, I was at such a low point. I hated everything. And I remembered my friend's sister from growing up, and I remember how I felt when I was at her funeral. I remember how guilty I felt, and I remember how confused I felt, and how I wished that she had just tried something new or just started over somewhere else. So I'm like, how big of a hypocrite would I be, you know, if I don't try that? So I did. I ended up getting a divorce and dropping out of school and throwing all my shit in the car and moving to California overnight. Like, I drove to California. I drove here in like 2.5 days. I didn't even sleep very much. But honestly, it was my way of running away from my life. Like, I was so low and I was like, this is ridiculous. I had a very small following on YouTube at the time, not enough to live off of at all. And I was coming out here with nothing, just hoping that something would happen. But everybody thought I was crazy. Everybody thought I was crazy. And that's part of where the not crazy thing comes from, because everybody has always told me my whole life, you know, you're crazy. You're crazy for, you know, your religious beliefs or lack thereof. You're crazy for, you know, posting videos on the internet talking about these things that make people feel uncomfortable. You're crazy for dropping out of school. You're crazy for running away to California. You know, you're crazy. But honestly, all those little things that I did are why I'm still here. I'm still here because of YouTube. I'm still here because I had one thing that I could lean on, that I just took off with. I'm still here because I remember her. I remember feeling like, you know, if I'm ever at that point, I'll give myself a second chance. And I did. But I guess another reason why I wanted to make this video was not only to let people know that they're not alone and that starting over is a good idea, but also because you are so caught up sometimes in your own life and your own problems that you don't really think about somebody else's struggles. You don't try to see things from somebody else's perspective. So you get really angry at people. And I wish that I had been the better person and not walked by her that day. You know, what if I had smiled and said, how are you? I know that we've had problems, but that's stupid, we grew up together, let's go have a coffee and talk about life. You know, what if I had been the one person that pulled her out of that depression? I'll never know that, you know? People get so angry over stupid shit in life that really doesn't matter, and just, I guess I'm like stuttering and mumbling over my words, but just try to like imagine somebody else's feelings, try to put yourself in their shoes, and just try to not get so angry over little things, and try to see the bigger picture. And just, if somebody cuts you off in line, or if somebody gives you a dirty look on the street, you know, smile at them. Maybe it'll make them reconsider how they're acting later on in the day. Maybe it'll make them feel better. I was on Tumblr the other day and I saw this post. This girl had posted it. She posted it with all these emojis and hearts and weird stickers. So I thought it was just some bullshit story, but apparently it's a short story called The Egg, and it's really cool. I don't really take it literally, but it was a good message. It was about this guy who died and went to heaven and hung out with God, and realized through their conversation that he is the only soul on earth. So he keeps being reincarnated to live new lives by different people and have different perspectives. So anybody that ever was or ever will be was the same person, just being reincarnated. And God was telling him that, you know, every time you ever did something nice for somebody, you were doing it for yourself. And anytime you ever did something horrible to somebody, you were just doing those things to yourself. And, you know, obviously, I don't take it literally, but I like it just because I wish people kind of thought that way a little bit. Because maybe it would give them a little bit of a different perspective on other people, you know? At that point in my life when I did that, I hadn't experienced enough to sympathize with other people. And I feel like now I've gone through enough to be able to do that. And it's hard. I'm human too. I do shitty things sometimes. But that's what makes you learn, and that's what makes you grow. So I'm not going to try to hold this against myself. I'm going to try to use it as a learning experience to just try to be nicer, you know, and I wish more people could do that. You know, a lot of people are angry at their parents. A lot of people are angry at people who they've, you know, interacted with in any kind of way. And, you know, your parents are also human. Your parents, you know, think about what they went through to get to the point that they're at now to treat you in a certain way. You know, if they're mean to you, or if, you know, they've said things to you, or if you don't, you know, I get people writing me all the time, my parents treat me like shit. I'm sorry, that hurts, that sucks. You know, they're your parents, and you know, they're your family, so it's hard to not care, but also try to understand, like, something made them that way. And I feel like if people could just try to, like, be more sympathetic and understanding, like, it'll come back to you. You know, people will see you being nice, and hopefully it'll help. I don't know, I'm gonna end this video now because I don't feel good. I'm really sick, and it's been kind of a sad night, so I just needed to maybe watch a funny movie or something and take my mind off of things. But I wanted to make a video because I feel like it's important that people know where I'm coming from. I get people asking me all the time, are you still in school? Why aren't you in school? You know, what happened with your relationship? You know, so that's my story, and hopefully it helps somebody, and hopefully it inspires people to really pick your battles. You know, don't just get angry at anybody, don't just fight anybody, don't call people names, don't make people feel bad about themselves. You know, look at yourself, you're not perfect. So stop trying to judge people and just smile. Smile, and sunshine and rainbows and everything happy. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.